Well, as you know, honey, we've consulted with a lot of business, and the last couple of months we've been traveling the country, speaking, doing some conferences and such. And one of the top concerns with these business owners' minds are being able to attract and retain good talent. Right?
Yes, that is a common theme that we keep hearing.
And there's a lot of grumbling about it. And then there's all kinds of reasons. They're saying, oh, this generation doesn't want to work. They're lazy and all that kind of stuff. But the data shows that 60% of people leave because of bad leadership. And it's across age groups. And so maybe, just maybe, we may be the problem.
I could totally see that, because with your corporate job with your boss, I don't know, you had her for like 20 years or something? 17 years, and you loved her, and you could have left anytime because you had tons of recruiters,
Mm-hmm.
yes, offers, wanting you to leave, and I'm sure you would have made more money.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But you loved your boss, and the team that she created, and it was one of the few teams in your district that stayed together for years, and that's what kept you there.
Mm-hmm. And when upper management changed, leadership changed, there was an exodus. I've seen it. And so I've seen it firsthand, both as an employee, but now as business consultants, we're seeing similar things. And so, we like to point the finger, but the first place to start and how to attract and retain good talent is us. As business owners, we really got to look at how do we need to do things a little bit different? How do we lead differently? It's hard enough to attract talent, so why don't we figure out a way to retain good talent? And that in itself will help you attract good talent, because you'll get more referrals.
Well, and then find a way to make it hard for them to leave, because they're like become part of your family, and they're so connected to you, they don't want to leave.
Yeah. So this will be a great conversation we're going to have with Dr. Joey Faucette, because that's what he does. He helps organizations and HR teams learn how to attract and retain good talent. And it really comes to not just starting with leadership, but creating a culture that does that.
Well, and I love that it's a different way to take a look at things, because people keep saying they can't find good talent, which maybe that's true. I don't know. But what about the people that you have?
Yeah. And you don't have to be a big company to develop good company culture. You can be a team of two or just really a team of one, just yourself. But how do you create a culture and an atmosphere that people want to just come to work for and stay, because it's just a positive environment? And it's one that just really recognizes your achievements and your abilities and your skills.
Yeah. Similar values, and feel like you're part of that community, family.
Yeah. So you ready to talk to Dr. Joey?
I'm ready.
All right, let's let him in. Welcome to the Power Up Your Marriage and Business podcast. We're your hosts, Robert and Kaylee Fukui. I know we're supposed to say we created this podcast for you, but we really created this for us. Because one of the power struggles we witnessed growing up and now dealing with in the present is balancing the needs of the business with priorities of marriage. Does this sound familiar?
As children of entrepreneurs, we're often on the receiving end of that struggle. Parents worked so hard to provide that they did not have time for us. We realized it wasn't their fault. They did only what they knew. But not wanting to repeat the past, we've been intentional about building a business that we run as opposed to it running us.
Every day we fight to keep the priorities the priority: faith, family, and finance, or the business. Some think it's impossible, but we say it's possible. You just need to challenge the false belief that a successful business only comes at the sacrifice of your family. It doesn't have to happen that way, and we know we're not the only couple to think this way and achieve it.
If you listen to some of our past episodes and tune in for future ones, you will hear from some amazing marriage experts and entrepreneur couples that have been able to build a thriving marriage and prosperous business at the same time.
So that's why we created this podcast, to be in the front row and hear from others that have gone before us. And from time to time, we'll share what has worked for us as well. But we know there's more to learn and want to take you along for the ride with us. We may never get it perfect, but with intention, we can all build a thriving marriage and prosperous business. So thank you for listening. Sit back, get comfortable, and let's power up your marriage and business. All right, so here we are with Dr. Joey Faucette, right?
Yes. Oh my gosh, we're going to have a great time today, you guys.
Oh,
what do you mean, right? I mean, you know me.
This is going to be a fun time. We had the privilege of being on his podcast, Work Positive Podcast, so you got to check out that episode. But now we get to turn the tables with you, Dr. Joey, and we're so looking forward to this conversation around healthy culture.
Man, I am just honored to be with you guys. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, and what I love about this interview is the timing, because
Okay.
we are headed up to Alaska tomorrow to head up a business conference. And one of the sessions we're going to be talking about is this, essentially. It's about really how you treat and deal with your employees, some of your number one stakeholders, which is your employees. Because, and I added this in because, one of our clients that's up there, he was asking about, are you going to talk about how to find good help? Because that seems to be the thing, no matter where we go around the country, that's always the thing. And they always say this, we have these issues here. We can't find good help here. Like it's the only place in the country that's having problems finding good help, right? Like it's all over the media, right? It's all over the national news about finding good help. People don't want to work. So it's always interesting. I always chuckle. I'm like, they always think that they're special, right? That only here in Alaska, special. Or only here in Sioux Falls do we have a problem with finding good help. So talk to us about that. This is just an open-ended question. What do you say? What do you say about that, Dr. Joey?
That's absolutely hilarious. And Robert, they are special, but they're not unique.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, there's this continuing dialogue between leaders and owners over here. Well, you just can't find good help. And then the good help that they do have, the people who are working for them are like, I wish we had better leaders. I wish we, knew where the company was going. I wish, and then they come up with this laundry list of things that they wish they were getting in their culture. SHRM, Society for Human Resource Management, finds continuously that 57, I saw a new figure here recently about another company, 60% of people leave a job because of a bad boss. Bad boss being one who doesn't give leadership, doesn't provide clarity. As my friend Dr. Bob Johansson says, we live in a VUCA world. They picked that up from the Army War College, but it's volatile, it's uncertain. I mean, you just go on. And as we're recording this, we know that recent events have made the world unstable, even more so. And so we're all wondering about what that's going to look like. Not to mention we're staring down an election year next year. Many people want certainty, but what they want above and beyond anything else from their leaders is clarity. Mm-hmm. We don't know how we're going to get there, but here's where we're going. Because market conditions change so very rapidly, and again, everything's so volatile, it's ambiguous, it's just uncertain. They want clarity. Here's where we're going, here's where the company's going. And that kind of clarity allows you to, as we say in Work Positive Nation, attract top talent. Because that's the primary benefit, right? Well, actually, it's twin sides of the same coin. Attract top talent and reduce team turnover, right? Those are two big things. So you don't want your back door to be 10x your front door, right? Because if it is, then what have you really accomplished? It cost you somewhere, my friend Peter Capelli from Wharton School of Business says, somewhere between 10 and 12 times a person's annual salary to find someone else. If you can find good help, right? Mm-hmm. To find someone else and get them trained up to be anywhere close to the person was before. So when you're seeking to attract top talent and reduce team turnover, you've got this dialogue. People are walking out the back door because it's a bad boss. People aren't coming in the front door because, well, it's got to be more than you just can't find good help. So one of the keys, and of course we talk about this. I'm happy to meet you in Alaska, by the way. It may be a little late on the calendar this year, but next year, just hit me up and we'll go for July. I grew up in Eastern North Carolina, so my blood is half apple cider vinegar and red pepper. So I'm not sure I can go in October to Alaska. I don't own that many pairs of socks, but
or shoes.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, how many pairs of flip-flops can you wear at one time? But anyway, when you're seeking to attract top talent, the first thing you've got to do as an owner is look at exactly what you're talking about. How do we regard our employees? Are they like an assembly line? Or are they human beings who are doing certain tasks for us? And how are we providing them with a culture that really allows them to connect? And there's so many layers to this, and I'm happy to follow up on any part that interests you. How can we connect their daily tasks with the company mission? Because that's the way they belong. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the twin towers of importance today, belonging and becoming. So if I need to connect my daily task with the company mission and get those aligned, then those daily tasks help me belong to the company, so there's an alignment of values, purpose, meaning, satisfaction. But what am I doing along the way to become? Mm-hmm. Because the days of just go to work and be professional and then go home and be personal, those days are gone forever. It's all development now. So I don't necessarily need an exact career path, but I do know that I've got the latitude and the support and encouragement to become a better version of myself mm-hmm. while I'm at work. Mm-hmm. And that's developing sometimes latent skills. That's sometimes focusing in on, the word passion is so overused. But anyway, things that interest me and I'm curious about. And so for my work environment to encourage that kind of exploration, then I become. You get a mouse hole for a back door when you do that, right? They're just not leaving anyway. And more to the point, they're going to tell their family and friends and neighbors, hey, you should come work for Kaylee and Robert. They're amazing people. Let me tell you what they did for us recently. Boom, 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 boom.
So belonging, is that where the clarity comes in, the clarity of the mission of the business, but also how your role fits? And then becoming would be kind of the development. Is that?
Yes, exactly. How am I going to continue to develop my daily task and my ability to do those and to innovate and create in ways that I do them because I'm in alignment with the company.
Mm-hmm. That's good. So, I'll give you credit, but I'm going to add this in our presentation on Friday. So this is the perfect timing.
Thank you, Dr. Joey.
That's what I'm saying. This is a perfect timing to do this interview because we're going to be talking a little bit about this, not to the in depth that you do, but of course,
I'm here for you, brother.
I give Dr. Joey
I'm here for you, brother. But, and if you want to Zoom me in, I'm glad to be right there with you. Frankly, I'd rather do that than I had sit on an airplane long enough to get to Alaska.
I love it. Now, it also sounds like, because I can already hear it, because we deal with this quite a bit ourselves in our consulting practice. But you start talking about these things, developing your people, paying attention to them, treating them like human beings. There's this thing.
Novel ideas, right?
There's this thing in the business owner's head, and it comes out their mouth is, it's a lot of work. I don't have enough time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, nice.
Or even managers, I think, too, because sometimes they think managing is just giving people tasks. Like, okay, I need this done. Here's my project, and I need it done by such and such date. I don't know if people, especially entrepreneurs, know how to develop people. I mean, we know how to have relationships, but... knowing, being able to spend time with them, find out what's important to them, what their purpose is, where they want to go, so we can come alongside of them. I'm not sure a lot of people know what that looks like or how to do that.
Yeah, you're so right, because we're working out of that antiquated assembly line model, right? Mm-hmm. And it's just such a disregard for humanity. I'm excited about all the conversations we're having about culture today, primarily because, we had the Great Resignation and then the Great Regret. And then I think we snuck quiet quitting in there somewhere. They were so quiet, I didn't quite get to hear them much. But, it's like you sneak up on them, right? So I am referring to now as the Great Redefinition. Work is being redefined. And If you think it's being redefined too quickly for you now, go ahead and sell your business if you're an owner, because it's about to accelerate. Coming out of the pandemic, we're having lots and lots of conversations about, physicality and the need for physicality and getting work done. And that's just the first shot across the bow. There are more that are coming. A dear friend of mine is working with a major retailer on recreating their entire campus for what's coming with, I prefer to call it augmented intelligence, and with Zuckerberg's metaverse coming, and it's a thing. Google's working on the same kind of stuff. We're just going to get work done entirely differently than we ever have before. So go ahead and sell the business now if you're having some heartburn now. Kaylee, to your point, what happens is so many of us just wake up one morning, we can't tell the difference between indigestion and an entrepreneurial seizure. So we say, okay, I'm really good at this, and so I can go have my own company because, he makes it look easy over there. And we don't think systems, Michael Gerber's E-Myth, we go back to that. Dan Sullivan does some really good work right now. In fact, I highly recommend his book, Who, Not How. It really helps you focus on the people that, and for me, I think it's calling. Sean Aker talks about in his book, The Happiness Advantage, job, career, calling. And calling is that wonderful alignment of personal mission and company mission, and that opportunity to develop and become along the way. So finding those persons whose calling aligns with what your company's seeking to do, that's important. And you're right. Most entrepreneurs, we don't have a paradigm for that. There's no mental model. We just woke up one day, said, hey, I can do that, and then we went off and did it. Now, the thing about entrepreneurs, and look, Entrepreneur Magazine published one of my books. So, and I'm an entrepreneur. I started as a 9-year-old selling Christmas cards door to door in August in 100-degree heat with 100% humidity.
Well, you really got
But I was a
head
cute
start.
kid as a 9-year-old. I had hair and everything. So anyway, entrepreneurs are so gifted and can do so many things. The challenge is we can't do them all at once. And so either age catches up with you, or your spouse leaves you, and something happens to dissolve in your world, and you go, oh, wait a minute, this is coming at a cost. Now, the cool thing now, I think, about the great redefinition of work is we've got, well, my friend Marisa Andrada says we've got 5 generations in some companies that she knows. I'm familiar with 4 being more common. But I mean, just think of the age span, the lifespans, the life experiences that are so very different over 5 generations. So the true digital natives are entering the workforce now. These are the kids that grew up with one of these. They've never not known screen time. I remember being excited when I got a Pong game on my black and white TV, So I don't think I qualify for a true digital native. My granddaughter does, though. She's not quite ready to enter the workforce, although I've got her feeding horses here on the farm. So anyway,
2 years old.
Don't call the Bureau of Labor Relations on me, please. She loves the horses. So those true digital natives, along with Gen Z, along with some of the younger millennials, have seen the dissolution in our personal relationships, our home relationships. Our parenting skills have suffered. My generation, the boomers, okay, Karen, just be quiet for a minute. We have the highest divorce rate of any previous generation, the highest addiction rate, financial insolvency being an issue also. But fortunately, our parents are dying and bailing us out of that, right? They just looked at us and said, we don't want that. There's more to life than that. There's got to be a redefinition of work, a different way to work, rather than just exhausting yourself and burning yourself out. So I'm greatly encouraged that there's a changing of this paradigm. Yeah. But to your point, Kaylee, we better get that paradigm in mind. We better create a mental model, or we just need to go ahead and sell the business.
Yeah. It's interesting that just in business in general, because market conditions are always changing, as you're talking about. but we usually look at it from like a customer-centric issue. The customers' tastes are changing, and the products and the services have to be adjusted to meet the changing tastes. But yet we don't look at our team, our employees, our staff, even our contractors, as their needs are changing. And those market dynamics are changing as well. And so we're cognizant about our external changes because of it affects our sales, right? But we don't realize how much of the internal changes are affecting our bottom line. So what do you say about that?
Generosity starts at home.
Yeah.
You better pay attention to your teams first today. Because if you're not going to have anything to sell. You're not going to have anyone to sell it. And the doors are going to close themselves. When you take care of your people, and I understand the importance of taking care of customers, don't get me wrong. But if you can think of your team members as your clients, and then customers as customers, and when you take, it's you've heard it before, when you take care of your team members, they take care of your customers, and then your customers take care of you. At the end of the day, it's about relationships. I mean, you're selling widgets or cars or whatever it is, or SaaS or whatever, but it's about relationships.
Yeah.
And when we are in a relationship, and I know I can trust Kaylee anyway. When I know I can trust Kaylee, there's no telling what Robert's going to say to me.
Don't open that package that you get in a couple days.
I heard you, man. But I can trust Kaylee and know that she's with me, whether I'm internal or external, whether I'm an external customer or an internal client. When I know I can trust Kaylee because we're in a relationship and she's caring about me and solving my problems, then I'll continue to work for her. I'll be loyal as my Labrador Retriever is. I'll just keep coming and giving you my money. My friend Larry Levine, who wrote an incredible book, Selling from the Heart, he likes to say, soft skills yield hard dollars. That is so true today. When you consider that the kind of relational stuff we're talking about have traditionally been considered soft skills. And I know it sounds a little bit woo-woo, but I'm telling you, the companies that are keeping employees, attracting top talent, reducing team turnover, and their productivity is going up and their profits are going up, those are the ones who are taking care of people internally and externally.
Yeah. Can you dig a little deeper on how it affects the bottom line? I think we kind of glossed over it a little bit, but I don't know if you have any specific examples or what.
Sure. Well, a positive work culture, there's an HBR, there are numerous HBR studies out there, so just go out there and Google around and you'll find a bunch of them. Typically, now these are typical results, we're seeing better results. Typically, you're seeing engagement scores, which are in the crapper, right? Increasing 30%. And that's year over year. So, get to year 3 and you're looking at a massive productivity change. And productivity, by the way, is a pathway to innovation and creativity. My friend Jody Thompson created the results-only work environment some years ago, Row. Check it out, gorow.com. She's an amazing, amazing woman who was way ahead of her time in this. But when you can, for instance, she's got a blog article out right now that flexible schedule is an oxymoron. Which makes perfect sense, because if you're still holding someone to a schedule to get their work done, all right, I mean, you got to work X number of hours in a day. It doesn't matter whether they do it at night or in the morning. That's still not really giving somebody the freedom to be productive, right? So I liken it to a mechanic. The old Chilton manuals. When I was doing my master's degree, I worked at a service station back 100 years ago when people actually paid you to pump gas, right? And check oil and do those kinds of things. And so the Chilton manual would say that replacing this particular part would take 8 hours. Yeah. Well, the mechanic would do it in 4 and charge for 8, right? So Does it really matter how? I mean, of course, I got wise to that, and every mechanic I worked with after that, I said, I know this only took you 2 hours. so so anyway, if it only takes you this amount of time to do a job, okay, great, free me to do the work in that amount of time because I've become more productive, right? The pathway to innovation and creativity is paved with productivity because if I'm able to do these tasks, remember they're aligned with the company mission and values, so I'm gaining purpose and satisfaction, which means I work more efficiently and effectively, then cut me loose to work on an upcoming problem or to do something else or to innovate or create something beyond just those daily tasks. And then that becomes a becoming piece, right? That becomes a becoming piece. That's redundant. That morphs into a becoming piece because now I'm able to develop more and more and more. So we see productivity go up 30%. We see operating income with a positive work culture. We see operating income increase, and these are average numbers. You can expect more, 19%. And then and that's year over year. And then revenue growth pops 28% and up when you're creating a positive work culture. So when you take care of the people take care of you. And that's internally, of course, those numbers are internal numbers, but they're also externally focused because if your revenue growth is increasing, right, year over year, 28%, operating income's going up 19%. Just think of what that'll do for your bottom line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, that's huge. That's good. Those are great stats. I mean, that's a good reason to focus on culture and focus on your team, your people.
Are you going to use those stats in Alaska in your
No, I might not.
Yeah.
I can only fit
Just
some
wrote
more.
them down.
Well, it's going to go to the show notes, but you never know. It might find its way into a future talk. You never know.
Yeah. I'll email you the HBR article.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, that'd be good. And I got a kind of a funny story about focusing on people and how they take care of customers and all that. So I have a good friend I was on a board with many years ago, and he is the CEO of a pretty good burger franchise in the Pacific Northwest. And so they came up with this new mission statement, and it was just 3 words: serve with love. And so the objective was that if their team served their customers with love, you'd have really good customer retention, right? If the people showed care for the customers, then they really have some good retention, of course, and you would think that sales would go up and all that kind of stuff. So a few months into it, they're kind of assessing the impact and all that with their new mission statement, the rollout, and how are their employees treating their customers and all that, and nothing really changed as far as customer satisfaction scores and of course the revenue and all that. And so the team kind of, I don't know who finally raised their hand, but they said, our employees need to be shown what love looks like. And so maybe we have to show our employees love, or show what love looks like, and so they can then lead by example, or we lead by example, and then therefore they would be able to serve our customers. Yeah. And so they had that aha moment, and so of course they adapted and they did what they should be doing, right? And they did the right thing. And so and they put in all these additional benefits and health plans, and I mean they put in some really robust benefits for the employees, even down to part-timers. So it wasn't just for the full-time. I mean, this is like a fast food restaurant, right? So even to the part-time employees, there's some really great benefits. So anyways, it's just kind of funny how one is you've got to be authentic, because it kind of goes into developing a mission statement. Their mission statement was to serve their customers with love, but anyways, you really have to be authentic, and it starts from the top, I guess is the long way of saying. It's a funny story, and a long way of saying it starts from the top. You really got to show care to your team, and they will, and then in return, show that to the customers and your clients, right?
Yes. Oh, that is so true. And let me tweak that a little bit more too. My friend David Friedman, who wrote a great book, Culture by Design, has 8 steps in it that are absolutely amazing for how you can begin transforming your culture to positive. Even now, today, things you can do. David focuses, and I believe he's right, on behavior. And so, what are the culture KPIs? That's what I call them. Or being from the South, I like to say, how do we roll around here? Right? So, those culture KPIs are so very, very important. Hang on, can you guys still hear me?
Yep, we're good.
Okay, all right. Cool. Sorry about that. Your video. I think is this a video thing also?
The audio's getting a little low, but video's fine.
Okay, all right. Okay. I think mine is uploading and maybe
No, you're good.
Elon's doing something to my satellite to maintain it.
No, you're good. So,
Okay, all right, I'll
yeah,
go.
even if the video and audio sounds a little funky, it's being directly downloaded to the hard drive, so we're good.
Okay, all right. Sorry, I just wanted to make sure I was doing good by you guys. Oh, David Friedman. I'll go back and say like that. Let me tweak that story just a little bit more. My friend David Friedman, who's the author of Culture by Design, has 8 steps for how you can design a positive work culture. And his emphasis is really on behavior. And this is to your point about we wrote a great mission statement, right? Serve with love. Man, it makes perfect sense. However, what's the behavior of that? What does that look like when managers are serving team members, when team members are serving each other with love, when team members are serving customers with love? The reason there was no uptake in customer satisfaction was because there was no behavior. There was no culture KPI right there saying, we serve with love in these ways. So David suggests, and look, I know this is counterintuitive, rather than going off for a weekend and having this amazing retreat, we call them, right? And 3 puffs of smoke come up and then we have a new mission statement. Let's look at KPIs. How do we want to treat each other around here? What are the values that are important to us, but we don't list those values? We describe them as behaviors. Now, my background's in adult education, so I come from organizational development world in which we talk about this stuff. What are the behaviors? But most of us just want to go off, have a woo-woo weekend, great time, camaraderie, what have you. And we'll come home with this mission statement that would wind up on the wall. Nobody's going to remember it much. I like that one because it's only 3 words. I can remember 3 words, right? But if you ask the average, if you can find the average employee, well, what's the mission statement of this company? Okay, what if they can remember it? What does that mean for you? I don't know. But if you drive it down to culture KPIs and specific behaviors that are reinforced in a ritualized cadence throughout the company, they're coached up on them. We know what it looks like to act here at Hot and Now or whatever it is. We know how we act around here. We know what love looks like. We know what it looks like to serve someone else. So that takes it a step further, and I think gives some specific, learning is better behavior. So it gives something specific, a specific goal for people to say, probably wasn't at my best when I did that. I was blaming instead of practicing blameless problem solving. Let me apologize for that because I realized, I caught myself. Then you become self-regulating around those culture KPIs because they're regularly reinforced and everybody knows how we roll around here.
Yeah, that's good. So, what would you say? Last question is: so you've got they're listening. You've made some great, let's say, arguments, some great reasons of why you focus on developing a healthy culture. You almost got under a little bit on the fence, though. What is the one last thing you would say to the entrepreneur that would encourage them to take this seriously? Because it will impact the bottom line, but more importantly, it's going to create just a happier experience as a business owner, right?
Oh, boy, does it ever. Yeah. Hey, Mr. and Ms. Business Owner, what did you wake up at 3 a.m. yesterday worried about? What if I told you we could make that go away? Would you be interested?
Yeah. Yes.
Sign me up.
Yeah. And look, I don't understand why it's always 3 a.m. but I swear every business owner says, man, I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I almost want to write a song, 3 o'clock in the morning. Oh, wait, somebody already did. Okay. Yeah.
Great. Well, Dr. Joey, thanks for being on the show. And so we've got workpositive.today. Definitely get the book, Work Positive in a Negative World. And of course, tune in to the Work Positive podcast. Any other way that they should look you up or come into contact with you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, they can just shout pops into the universe and I'll hear you and come running. And if you can do it in a 3.5-year-old voice, you'll get faster treatment. Hey, I've got a new book that's just recently come out. It's a short book. It's the shortest book I've ever written. And I had so much fun writing it and people are having so much fun reading it. I'm going to just write short books from now on. It's called Small Hinges Swing Big Doors. Small hinges swing big doors. And look, on Kindle, it's only 99 cents. If you prefer to hold paper, it's only $4.99. Awesome. We're getting great reviews from it. There are 51 what I call culture dots that connect people and profits. And DOTS stands for do one thing, D-O-T, do one thing. So these are actionable. You just pick them up, you go do one. There's one for every week and you get a week off. Right? Just do that one thing for that week. And they're really working and already helping transform work cultures. Again, there's that emphasis on behavior. Do this and do this one thing, and your work culture will become positive.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, Dr. Joey, for hopping on. This has been great. And I got some great material to go to Alaska with, so thank you.
Thanks. Perfect timing.
I'm here for you, Robert.
I'm going to look like a genius.
Yeah, I'm here for you. So, I hope
as
you're feeling the law, right?
Yeah, exactly. So since you're still listening, I know this has been impactful for you. So please share this with another entrepreneur that needs to hear this because, hey, it can only help your business, okay? So pass this along. Leave a great review for us on Apple Podcasts. And tune in again next week, right, honey?
Yes, and check out our website marriedentrepreneur.co for all kinds of freebies.
All right. So until next week, y'all, God bless. Thank you for listening to the Power Up Your Marriage and Business podcast. If you found this episode to be valuable, please leave a rating and share it with an entrepreneur couple you know.
Yes, and remember to hit the subscribe button so that you'll get all of our latest episodes, and visit our website, Power Couples by Design, to access a variety of free resources to help your marriage and business, like our weekly videos and on-demand webinars. And don't forget to download our free 8-step guide that you can find on our homepage to help your marriage and business thrive.
We're here to help you build a thriving marriage and a prosperous business. God bless your marriage and business. See you next week.